Great, Diana. Thanks. Thanks everyone for joining today's session. My name is Pankaj Banka. I'm one of the co-founders here at TSP, and with me I have obviously Diana Gray, who is the community marketing manager for the Americas at UiPath, and then Nishant Banka, who is a solution architect at TSP. So today's session is all about UiPath's solution management overview. I think this is kind of a new offering from UiPath, which provides probably an out of the box standard solution to manage your life cycle of your solution once they're built, right? So we'll go deep into that. And Nishant will be doing most of the presentation and the talking. And so the agenda probably for today is, we'll talk about the problem statement and then some of the components of UiPath management, which is orchestration manager, the solutions management itself, and some of the programs that UiPath have, and then what we have built as part of the solution accelerator and solution management. So with that said, I will hand it over to Nishant to carry on with this presentation. Nishant?
Sure. All right. Thank you, everyone. So this is what generally your orchestrator setup would look like, right? You would have a development tenant, a test tenant, and a production tenant. And this is what UiPath also describes. Now, what you have to do whenever your developers are working on the dev tenant, your orchestrator folders would look something like this. You would have processes, you would have assets, you would have created queues for your processes, and you would also have probably created triggers to start these processes to schedule these processes. Now imagine having to move a new process from a development tenant to the test tenant so that UAT can take place, and then moving these process again from test tenant to production tenant. Now, and this might seem like a one-off work, and now imagine having to do this for multiple folders or multiple processes. Now imagine the time that gets wasted or how unproductive this time is to just move these things from one tenant to the other. And imagine if you have to do this for every sprint, then the challenges are just multifold. And with UiPath's statement of reducing unproductive time, we have something that UiPath already provides, and it's called the solutions management that helps move these resources and processes from one tenant to another. This is also applicable for a multi-organization setup. So if you want to move your processes or your resources from one orchestrator organization to another, even that is possible through solutions management. We'll take a look at this later. So something that UiPath already provides is called the Orchestrator Manager. What it helps you to do is it is a tool which gets integrated with your assistant, and that helps you to create bulk resources like assets, environments, machines, processes. So we'll not be going through the Orchestrator Manager in depth over here because a lot of resources are already available for Orchestrator Manager, but I can just quickly guide you to where you can find the Orchestrator Manager. The Orchestrator Manager is going to be present as part of the marketplace, and what we need to do is we need to download the Orchestrator Manager. This does not require any custom development on this. The only will be presented with a UI. We need to connect this UI to our orchestrator and perform the operations on it. So this is what the UI looks like. We'll add our details, we'll add the URL, we'll add the username, passwords. And here, what we do is we'll fetch whatever, if anything that is already present. So if we want to get some assets that are already present in a folder, we can just get it using the get operation and specifying the entity. What it does is it pulls in all of these assets and brings it into an Excel-based format. So now what we need to do is, if you want to modify anything, you can simply go here and modify whatever values that you need to modify. and then you can connect it back to whichever folder or whichever account that you want to create. And in the operation, you select upload, and then you specify the entity. So whatever is present in the Excel gets uploaded to the orchestrator manager. Or when I say uploaded, it actually creates these entities in the orchestrator. So you would see that there are uh, multiple. So in the assets worksheet, you can create, and then for credentials, since credentials cannot be downloaded, the passwords cannot be downloaded as plain text. So it's going to be in a format. So it doesn't really get downloaded. You have to specify the credentials that you want to upload. So the challenges that you face with this is you have to download an external app, and then you have to connect it to your orchestrator, and then you have to make changes and then publish it. So our UiPath is now moving forward with UiPath Solutions Management. What this provides is this is an addition to the automation ops initiative. So you'll find it in the orchestrator itself. So everything gets done from the orchestrator. Nothing new has to be downloaded. Everything can be worked in the orchestrator. So what we do is uh, I will quickly go through a demo, but what we essentially do is these are what comprises a solution management bundle. So you can create assets, you can create queues, triggers, storage buckets, and processes. These get bundled up into a package which can be migrated between tenants or which can be migrated between organizations, and then you upload this package back right up to whichever folder that you want all of these to be created, and UiPath Solutions Management does it for you. So let me quickly go through some of the steps. All right, so I have a folder in my development tenant called invoice processing. And here I have created a process already, just so that we don't have to create it from scratch. I also have a queue, and I have also created a couple of assets. I have created an asset which is of type text, and I've also created an asset which is of type credential. And I've all done this so that, in lieu of shortage of time, I've just created and prepared this already. So let's take a look at how we can migrate this folder from the development tenant to the production tenant. So we first go to automation ops, which should be present as a service in your orchestrator. If it's not, this can be enabled in the admin panel. Here we'll see a solutions management uh, option. This is now available for uh, public preview. This is no longer in private preview, so you should also see it in your automation ops. First, we have to select the tenant from which we need to create the package. So in our case, we'll be creating the package from the development tenant. So I've selected the development as my tenant. And now I click on new project. I give a name to this project. I click on continue. So what it is going to do is it's going to load up uh, we can load a builder from which we can build our solution. So I go to the loader, and then it tells me in this tenant all the folders and the subfolders that I have that I want to package into my solutions bundle. So I click on invoice processing because this is the one that I want to bundle. And now I can select whatever that I need to bundle as part of the solution. So I select all, and then I click on add. It generally takes a couple of seconds to prepare this. Oh, here we go. So what we can do now is before we build the package, we have an option to change the values. We can change whatever the value that can go for the asset. We can add a description here, and that goes for each of these. Whatever configurations are generally present during creating these resources, will be, or will you'll also get an option here when you want to create a package. So when you want to create a description, you can add a description. If a description is already added, then that would be present here that you want to change. You can also lock your description. So what would this would do is, if I add some description and I lock it, when the other person is importing um, this bundle, they will not be able to change it. We'll show this to you. And then I lock it. And similarly, I can see that for the other values, the username has been pulled when we are trying to create the bundle. The password will not be pulled and it has to be set at deployment type. And all the other configurations like description is provided before we build the solutions package. The same goes for a process. This was our process of this is a of type process. And we could see that these are the configurations that we generally get when we are adding a process. We can add the entry point, we can change the job priority, and we can also enable disable job recording. So all of the configurations that you get when you create a process, you are also going to get it before when you're building the solutions. And that same goes for a queue as well as the trigger. We can change the frequency, we can add whatever configurations that we want. So now that we have this, we have made the changes. I'm going to click on publish. If you want, we can add a description. Let me just add the same description here and I click on. So now what it does is we can go to package or we can continue with editing and then this gets saved as a draft. So since I don't want to make any more changes, I'll go to packages. And then I see that the project that I had created right now is already available. The status is ready. If it's a bigger package, it does take some time for it to become ready for it to bundle. And now I have to go and download this package. So this comes in a zip file that we can use to move across tenants, across organizations. So this zip file can be uploaded wherever you want, and that is going to create the same package for you in that. So this might be a multi-organization setup or it could be a multi-tenant setup. So now what if I want to upload it to the production tenant? I change my tenant selection and I come here and click on upload solutions package. And I click on upload. So this goes to a pending state. Again, if it's a bigger project, this might take some time, but now we are here, we are in the ready state. Before we actually deploy it to production, let me just show you what my production folder looks like. So I have already created a folder called finance and an accounts payable subfolder. What this is going to do is it's going to add an invoice processing folder in the accounts subfolder in the accounts payable subfolder over here. So since we have this already, let me come here and we click on the deploy package option. Here it's going to ask me what my destination folder is. So since I don't want it in the finance folder, I want it in the accounts payable subfolder, I will select this and I'll click on continue. So remember how we had the configurations available to us before we created the package? We have similar configurations available when we want to deploy it. So we had logged the description for asset one. We see that this cannot be edited, but others like the values or any other thing that we can edit it over here. For asset two, which is of type credential, I would have to provide a password. And so I do, because without the password, a credential asset will not be created, and this is going to throw an error saying that you have to provide a password. Similarly, for any other resource or process, so a process, other configurations are available that we want to change before deploying. For a queue, we can have all of these configurations as well. And same goes for a trigger. Since I don't want to change anything, I want to keep it the same as my development tenant. I click on deploy. So it says that the deployment has started. It generally takes some time for the process to complete. What it is doing is it's creating a subfolder, and it is also creating those resources. Oh, we have the successful status over here. So I come back, I refresh my production uh, tenant, and I see that the invoice uh, processing has been created. A subfolder has been created. You would also see that it is a solutions folder, and that indicates that this has been moved via the solutions management. So if I go to invoice processing, I would see that my process has been moved to the folder. I would also see that the queue that I had created has also been created in the production tenant in the invoice processing subfolder. And this also contains the assets that I have created. The credential store, this will include the password that we had set during deployment. And we would also see that the trigger that we had created is also present. You would have to note that this is only a solutions that is being moved. If we want to run this process, we would have to configure the machines and the licenses separately, because the licenses will not move between tenants or between organizations. It's only the processes and the resources that are moving, that gets bundled into a solution which you can move across folders, or you can move across tenants or across organizations. Since we have this, there is also another solution, or the next part of this is the deactivating whatever has been created by the solutions management can also be uninstalled. And this is done so that whenever, because this is a solutions folder, and if you don't need it anymore, you can simply uninstall it. So if I go and click, so if I go on the three dots in the deployments tab, and I go there and click on uninstall, and then I just add my demo project. And we see that the operation uninstall is in progress. So what it is doing now is, since it created that folder along with these resources, it is rolling back all of those changes. It is first deleting these resources and then deleting the folders. And so we see that the status is successful. So if I refresh my production tenant, I would see that the folder is no longer available. The solution has been uninstalled as per the requirement. And so this is how you can create a package from a tenant, move it to whichever tenant, whichever organization, or you can even move it between different folders in the same tenant using the solutions management without downloading any any external application, or you can do everything from the orchestrator itself. We'll quickly go back to the slides, and I'll paste the link for the documentation that you can go through uh, if you want to know more about what solutions management is. Now, let me just quickly cover what UiPath Insider Program is. So if you're active on a UiPath Insider Program, you would already know that these are some things that we have already, that this is a program, this is a very awaited feature that was registered on the Insider program, and a lot of people were talking about it. What Insider program does is it helps you get early access to these new features and these updates. You can get in touch with the product managers, you can get in touch with the development teams and provide your feedback. And it just helps you a chance, it just helps you become an early adopter for these products. Now, I also want to bring up some solution accelerators that UiPath is building along with a lot of other firms, with a lot of other partner organizations, and TSP has also helped UiPath build a couple of solution accelerators. So these are some of the accelerators that TSP has created in conjunction with UiPath. One is the three-way match, one is the process goods receipt, a two-way match invoice processing for SAP, and update existing vendor. And the reason that I am bringing this into discussion is because the solutions management initiative is there's a plan to expand this to include all existing solution accelerators. So how solution accelerators work today is you download these from the marketplace, make your customizations, you add whatever resources that are required as part of the solution accelerators. So if there's a queue that's required, uh, if there are assets that need to be created, all of these have to be created manually. And only then would you be able to run the solution accelerator completely. And even then so the customization part on the project side still has to be done by you, but these components of creating the resources, of creating queues, of creating triggers, of creating anything will be automated through the use of solutions management. And so solutions accelerator will become a part of solutions management, thus reducing the time where you have to create these resources and only work on customizing your solutions. And so this is what I had for the session. I can take up any queries if anyone has any.
Yeah, so feel free to take yourself off mute too if you have any questions. Is test automation available in Solutions Manager right now?
So right now, test manager, test automations are not available on solutions management as of now, but I'm sure this is so test management is a very integral part of automations, and there's a folder already there. So I know this is a feature that UiPath is working on, and it will be available soon. Thank you for this question.
Great. Anything else? Well, great job, Nishant. Thank you so much for presenting. That was really interesting. Also, just before we leave, I just want you to remember that I have the URL for the video that will be available tomorrow in the chat. So make sure you grab that. And if you guys have any other topics you'd like to hear, please let us know. So with that, thank you so much, and look forward to more events with you guys.
Great. Thank you so much for joining,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.